Yeah, we're live. Sorry. Hey, what's up, everybody? Access Omaha Podcast 103. And I even forgot what we were putting as our tagline there. It was like,
passion.
What can you
Passion.
get?
Oh, what would you do for free?
What would you do for free?
Yeah,
that's right. And that's kind of the motto. And we have a special guest today.
Boom.
Which is pretty awesome. So I'm going to let Levi take over with that. But happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday, guys.
And it's go time.
Thanks for tuning in. So we have a special guest on today that I'm very excited about, guys. We have Brad Flanagan joining us. He's a former fellow brother in arms of mine, actually. Brad and I got connected not too long ago through his previous occupation, which is as a mortgage lender.
Yes,
and he's someone who I definitely look up to in the mortgage industry. Awesome guy, a gentleman's gentleman, and someone who really just kind of, yeah, dude.
That's a great introduction.
Like, you didn't know this was going to happen.
Yeah,
No, but, you know, when you work in a specific field, you tend to look for people who are cut from the same cloth, so to speak, or are kindred spirits. And I think I definitely saw that in Brad. I don't know if he saw that in me, but that's at least the way that I felt about him. And, you know, we hit it off right away and stayed in contact and stuff, whether it was looking at different scenarios or whatever it would be to just kind of in our respective industries. But he recently made a little bit of a career change, and he's been somebody I've stuck in contact with. And he also does a lot of investing and things like that. So we're very excited to have him on today to hear a little bit about his origin story, how he landed in Omaha, and also how he got started doing what he's doing now. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We got Brad Flanagan here, and we're going to let him take it away a little bit.
I really appreciate you having me, and quite the introduction. I'm a little taken back because it was funny, and I guess we didn't get a chance to talk about this. He's a very busy man. He's on the phone.
All the time.
Which is good. It's great for the market, the industry.
Yeah.
So it's all indicative of good things.
That's a big word.
Yeah. Especially on Facebook Live. I remember going into the Regis Suites, and I saw you in passing, and I was like, you know, I was looked at the competition, saw who was out there on the internet, and I'm like, this guy, Skyline Homes, you know, wherever that was at the time. And then I saw you go down the hall, and I was like intimidated, man.
What?
So yeah, that was before we even talked. So it's cool to finally get that connection and get those things out. But yeah, hearing your story and how you can relate with people and just connect really is, I guess, what kind of drew me into you and wanting to know more about your business. And then Ryan, just like a knowledge guy,
Right.
And so willing to share it. Mm-hmm. So that's what got me addicted to watching and following you guys on social media. And I'm humbled to have gotten that invite. So thanks for having me.
Of course, man. We're happy to have you. Thanks for gracing us with your presence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So yeah.
So Brad, can you kind of walk us through just like where you grew up, where you went to school, you know, and then from school, like what you got yourself into and doing, and then kind of what you plan on doing like in the future, so we can kind of build this story.
Okay. So Chicago is my hometown.
Go Cubs.
Yes.
I gotta get that plug in
there. Chicago fan, so probably Blackhawks if anything.
Okay. All right.
So Rizzo, if you pop in here, that's for you. Anyhow, grew up in Chicago. Was really into IT when I was in school, and studied the CCNA course through Cisco early on, and I'm like, I kept telling my dad, I'm going to get a great job, I'm going to be an IT guy. But unfortunately, that was a very popular industry growing at that point in time, and I started being the analytical person that I am, and I'm like, I'm getting student loans. I was going to Robert Morris College at the time, and I'm watching the market, and there's a lot of people coming out with degrees in IT, and they ended up not getting a job. And so now I'm looking ahead saying, okay, I'm going to have all these student loans, not going to get a job in the field I want with the amount of income that I need to make sure I support this debt. So military came across my plate, and joined the Army. So Deployed to Afghanistan 04 to 05.
Wow.
Turned 21 over there.
Respect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And when I got back, I had a previous history. Like, of course, I had a job when I was in college and stuff. Went to a title company is where I was working, so I had like a little bit of roots in real estate. But my mom had encouraged me to be a mortgage loan officer. She's like, it's you, you know? And gotta listen to mom. You know?
Yeah.
Fresh out of the military
Mama's
too.
boy.
I was good at taking orders. So
Yeah.
she introduced me to a gentleman who put me in touch with the right people, and so I had a banking background, got the solid foundation that a bank provides, the training, the support, and so despite the fact that it was 05, 06, 07, I didn't really do those loans that ended up resulting in what we know as the financial crisis, the Great Recession. So
cool.
I attribute the people who gave me a shot at 21 years old in the finance world. I struggled through it. So if anybody's out there struggling, it's just, that's what's supposed to happen. Before you fall into your groove, you have to be uncomfortable and get comfortable being uncomfortable. One of my favorite phrases by far. And it's cool because I look back and I see a girl named Trisha Browers. She was a woman named Trisha Browers. She was my coach or my mentor, my boss, and I go back to Chicago and I see her on the cover of Real Estate Magazine.
Do you really?
And it's
Wow.
so we get in touch and once in a while, and I just make sure to remind myself, because gratitude is another part of that growth.
Yeah, big time.
So make sure I'm saying thank you to her. So from there, build the relationships, life happens, things happen, and follow opportunities. And I was in Las Vegas. Motorcycles are another passion.
Yeah, okay. No helmet laws out there either, huh?
Well, I don't know about. I didn't really have to worry about where there was a helmet law because I am an advocate and I wore a helmet. So I strongly encourage that.
Amen.
Invest in yourself.
Yes.
That's a common theme as well. Both health and preventative maintenance. So definitely yes, wear the helmet. But Vegas allowed me a little better atmosphere for the motorcycle pursuits that I had, but also, again, 06, 07, there was a lot booming.
But real quick though, don't be modest, man. I think somehow I looked up some videos of yours. There's some videos of this guy like stunting you guys. Like when he talks about riding a motorcycle, we're not talking about going down I-80. Like you did some stunting.
Yes, there was, that didn't have any benefits. So it was tough to keep that going, and that's where it led me to get to Omaha.
Yeah.
I had to be a different level of responsibility. I met my now wife, Jamie, and
shout out Jamie.
We found out we were going to have our daughter, who's 9 today.
Wow.
Well, 9 now.
Oh, okay.
Not her birthday.
I was like, birthday today?
No, she'll be 10 in July, so that's how long it's been. So that what happens in Vegas doesn't stay. And so had to kind of figure out what's next in life, and she had family here in Omaha, so we decided as jointly that we would come to Omaha, and I was just blown away. Like you say, access Omaha.
Yeah.
People are accessible.
Yeah.
The network, look at the flood. I mean, the band of coming together and just helping each other out. And some of us in our areas are like, you can't even tell that it's going on, but all around us, people have come out and figured out ways to support, whether that's financially or volunteering at time. So I was blown away in 2009 when I went to work in the mortgage business here, that I was able to build my business in a successful manner in a relatively short period of time. Coming from 2 very large cities where you would think it would almost be easier just by sheer numbers.
Yeah.
But here there's a larger quality of connection.
Exactly. The sense of community.
Yep.
It's light years
Right.
ahead of some of those other major big big cities for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was gonna kind of go into and ask you is like, now that you've been in the Windy City and you've been in Vegas, you know, and then you come to Omaha, as you look at Omaha and you look at the community that we have here, you've kind of said it, but kind of clarify in your experience, like, why is Omaha so much better for you, in your opinion, than it was in Vegas or Chicago, and why do you see living here long term kind of something you want to do?
I mean, definitely in the summer months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go. There's the clarification.
But one story I always tell about Vegas is I lived in a townhouse, and so three separate buildings shared one driveway, and then there was like a fourth that didn't have a driveway. But anyhow, that close relation, you never spoke to a neighbor. They didn't open their shades.
It's not crazy.
It is.
That dynamic is
Wow.
just crazy. Yeah.
I knocked on the next door neighbor's door.
They probably wouldn't even answer.
He answered.
Oh, did
They answered, but they said, "You're the first person in 7 years of living here that's just like knocked on my door for just no real reason other than to say hi. I'm your neighbor." So that would be a very dramatic example.
Yeah.
Because Vegas I found is a transient location. Somebody's typically coming from one place in pursuit of something. So. Relationships are maybe secondary, and it could have evolved. I'm just generalizing based on my experience.
Right.
I think it's a very fun place to go. Chicago's great. I have great friendships there. I just was probably too young by the time I departed to have had enough experience, enough perception to make a different analysis. I do tons of business in Illinois still, all over. So I think it's a great state. I'm surprised that economically it's just so much more expensive, and there's a lot of people maybe leaving, and $15 pack of cigarettes. I don't agree with smoking as it is, but like
for comparison,
exactly.
Wow.
So it's quality of life here. I think I'm excited everywhere you go. Anytime somebody comes into town, they're like, "Wow, there is so much construction. Where are all the people coming from that are filling these properties?" So that part of it's really exciting for me as well. And it's so centrally located. I was at that concert I was telling you about yesterday, and this artist gets up and he says he was having a conversation about changing that slogan of "It's not for everyone."
Oh yeah.
He said,
how did that go over?
He said, "Why don't we change it to like in the middle of everything?"
Oh, okay,
Because it really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I could 7 hours. I get to Colorado. I get to Chicago.
Yeah.
Minneapolis.
KC,
You
like
know,
forward.
I mean, there's so many places to go, and it's again so accessible.
Yeah.
That's another just high quality reason to see a future.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
No, good. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, it's. I think we all can agree with that too. If you're in Nebraska, even if you're a transplant or if you're a native, you could definitely agree with a lot of what Brad's touching on. Is that there's just a different mentality here. It is a little bit slower. We may not have all the flash that some of the other big cities do, but we definitely make up for it in other ways for sure.
Oh yeah,
Very true.
Oh, jazz on the green.
Oh, yeah.
Shakespeare on the green.
Yeah.
It's funny because they're more quality.
Mhm.
I didn't pay attention as much as I have in the past 10 years as an adult with kids and things like that. So I'm definitely biased in my point of view. But a movie in the park with all over town. That's that Sumter Amphitheater. The libraries will put a blow up deal there.
Mhm.
So despite the fact that you might have to dig and do a little research, things to do in Omaha, you can't go maybe a professional sports game at a whim, but there's definitely culture, diversity, wholesome fun, and so that's something that's always on the back burner too. It's like, how do we create good, solid, relationship-oriented events that maybe don't surround around alcohol,
Exactly.
or, just stuff that brings community together.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm with you there. I think that's probably a shared. I don't know if I would say, pursuit of yours and mine
Mhm.
too. We're always trying to figure out what's a better way to connect with people and
Mhm.
spend time and have that one-on-one and develop the community, develop the relationship, So outside of the standard kind of, bar weekend or whatever else like
Right.
that. So,
Right.
huge. So yeah, from there, I mean, really, any more about your story? Do you want to get back into that a little bit? Cut you off there a little bit. Sorry.
No, not at all.
So you were doing lending, mortgage stuff when you
Yep.
got here, and how long did you do that? And what was it about it that you loved? And walk us through that a little bit.
It's the connections, it's the people, it's taking a look at, in the real estate transaction, it's this opportunity, a very emotional time period, but it's also an opportunity to, I always refer to it as like restructure everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're looking at debt, we're looking at credit, we're analyzing how we can make an improvement on people's lives, and it's how deep you want to take that connection. You can always go online and maybe get some quick deal, and it's 30-year fix,
Yeah.
20% down.
Right.
Great, that's fine. However, taking the opportunity to dig deeper and look at different ways to do things is just always at the forefront.
Right.
So through that, those relationships deepened,
Yeah.
and then people would continue to contact me, a past client, a friend, or just somebody when it had to do with numbers, had to do with finances, would reach out, job offers, taxes, things that maybe I'm not entirely qualified to do,
Yeah.
and definitely not in my scope of work as a mortgage lender. So was given an opportunity to get into the financial services industry. That's the pursuit, and that's something that I'm working on.
Wow.
Then real estate investing started to come about. So then you're getting even more involved in your communities. I got a lot of properties, and generally we're getting them at a discount because of the fact that it needs some repair, some improvement.
Mhm.
And there's just, aside from financial aspect of that business, there's something that feels good about bringing up a community, bringing
Right.
up
Yep.
a neighborhood. When you get that new neighbor and they're like taking care of their lawn, it just
Mhm.
helps make you feel better about your neighborhood.
About everything.
Same kind of thing goes, like, let's paint this house, let's
Mhm.
replace that driveway, whatever the case may be, trying to continuously improve that. And with the growth that we're experiencing, putting those two things together, it's proven to be a successful,
Wow.
fun
That's powerful.
event.
You guys don't understand though from the short video, like Brad, this guy is a heavy hitter in the mortgage
Come
industry.
on.
No, seriously, like this guy has, built a very successful, great business. Every agent I've spoken to around town, or everybody who knows him around town, only speaks highly of him. So for someone to have that kind of a career and, really in the pursuit of following their passion, to kind of not necessarily step away from it, but just to switch gears and kind of retool a little bit and look for a different avenue to help people, that's massive, you guys. Like,
Yep.
stepping away from something to where that your next pursuit is going to be the one that you're the most passionate about, that's going to help people the most long term. That's powerful, man, for sure.
Well, I think as we get older, like, we've had this conversation before, but like things change, like
Yeah.
in different stages of life, right?
Oh, yeah.
Seasons, family, all different things. But I think as we get older, something that we were passionate about when we were 21
Right.
isn't necessarily something that we're passionate about when we get to 35.
Yep.
And it might have been through that experience, that we're going through, whether that's a job or something in our lives or whatever, that we come to find out that, like, man, I really enjoy doing this, and so if I could do more of this, that might be something that I want to pursue.
Yeah.
And I kind of heard you say it, like, okay, I was doing these types of things and doing mortgage lending and all these other things, but then I started getting phone calls from other people about, like, hey, help us, guide us in this direction as it relates to this or that. And it's the same thing I tell people in real estate. Like, people don't understand. I wish I could document like a documentary of like what we do, because
Right.
so many people see the stuff that looks successful, right? They see the pictures that get
right.
posted about closing and
Yeah.
being with their clients or whatever. What they don't see is they don't see like everything else that comes with that, and the grind and all the work behind it.
problem solving.
And I tell people all the time, I'm like, listen, I'm like a counselor, I'm a financial advisor, I'm a real estate agent, I'm a marketer, I'm all these other things sometimes, where I feel like you were kind of experiencing that from the lending side, where you're, okay, yeah, I'm a mortgage lender, but I'm also dealing with all these other things that people are looking to me for advice on. Walk me through, like, where did the light bulb go off for you when you were, maybe it was an event or a conversation you were having with someone or whatever, where you're like, there's something more and something that I'm more passionate about than this, that made that, or maybe it wasn't anything in general, but like, what made that shift in mindset or career change where you're like, yeah, I want to go down this path now. Like, I want to pursue this because this is what I'm passionate about now.
That's good stuff.
It is. It is a great question, and definitely comprehensive. So, I can't say it's any one event. It's definitely the compound effect of a series of events. My job or my mission in life is to help people, to connect people. I get more out of, I had a coffee with a gentleman this morning, and we're literally just talking about what he's trying to pursue, things that he wants, and I'm making a list of names of people he needs to be in touch with.
Okay.
So expect that phone call.
Okay.
I love that. I love that.
But that to me is far more important than any single job, any task, any job description that you're going to run into. There's a couple of agents in town that I remember meeting with way back when, and introduced him to a builder. Just have a conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, it changed. They'll tell you. They've told me it's just changed the dynamic of their business. They wouldn't be in the position that they are today. Are they working for that builder? No, but have they gone down a path that was paved through that experience? Yes. And
Wow.
to me, that's like why I have goosebumps on my arm right now.
Yeah.
That is, there's nothing better than helping and understanding and deepening relationships. So that was the light bulb, is just being open. I think having a spiritual or a faith-based vision or
Foundation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's important, because I do remember going to a service where they said, we all have these talents, these natural abilities. How are we using them?
Yeah.
So
That
that's
makes
why-
you think, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff too.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, my license plate, as you know, it says loans, and it had a meaning when I did it, and that was strictly loans. But when I looked at it, I was like, I need to think about this. What does this mean?
or something. Yeah.
And I changed it to life organizer and numbers specialist. That sort of sums it up, really. I just want to, I don't care. My favorite conversations, they start with, hey Brad, I was wondering if I could pick your brain on something real quick. If I get that phone call and we hang up and we don't talk again for a long time, I'm just gonna hang on to that.
So, audience, remember that if you want to connect. If you want to connect with Brad, that's the way
you gotta find the phone number. So that's the light bulb moment, is when people tell me that a specific, maybe even selfless action changed their trajectory.
Yeah. Wow.
That's good stuff.
That's powerful. Big time.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that too.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking that question.
Yeah.
Did you write that down?
Maybe. Maybe I did.
We ask everybody.
Hey, I think one thing that you mentioned that I think resonates with us, and obviously is really the foundation of this podcast and why we started doing this, was you said networking with people, and connecting these people and helping them get to their destination, whatever that destination would be. That's essentially the reason why we started this podcast, was to network and to get people connected to the type of people that we've done business with and that we trust and that we know are going to give our clients the same experience that we gave them. And it's just taking care of people. Like what I heard from your story stands out to me because it relates and resonates so much, I think, with us, is that it's not about a transaction for us ever. It's always about building that relationship. And I tell people, like, I love going deeper rather than wider.
Right.
You know, like if you give me like 50 people that I can really pour into and they can tap my brain and I can tap theirs and we can gain something from that conversation, I'll take that all day over 100 people that I'm just like, oh, hey, how's today? It's good. All right, see you later. Like,
Oh, exactly.
dude, I look forward to
100%.
Fridays. And Levi and I talk about this all the time. Like, we look forward to this podcast, and if we miss it for some reason because of something that came up with family or whatever, like, it almost sets like displacement in our whole schedule for the week, because it's like we look forward to going deeper with someone, and we look forward to taking that to a much deeper level and learning from that person and their experience.
This morning I was excited, guys. I knew Brad was coming on. I knew it was going to be a great day too. It's Friday. The weather's amazing. In addition to it being a super busy day, I was like, the biggest thing I was looking forward to is I'm like, we're going to get to sit down, hear his story, let him share, and just connect and go a little bit deeper too. So that's big. One thing I want to circle back around to, though, that you kind of touched on, and we all did a little bit, but I want to get your perspective on why it's so important to be passionate about what you do and to try to find something, maybe if you don't have it, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are in this pursuit of, you know, what am I meant to do? What am I meant to be? Where am I supposed to go? All these questions, right? That a lot of times I feel like for some people may go their whole lives unanswered.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's, Ryan and I were talking about this a little bit yesterday, why it's so important to find something that you are passionate about and you have passion for, because at least from our perspective, it empowers you to go out and be the best that you are in whatever it is. But I really want to hear what your perspective of that is.
It's gonna kind of come in like a two-part deal here. So being passionate for what you do is generally fueled by something that you're passionate for. So that's the whole, everybody says it, it's nothing groundbreaking. Figure out your why, right?
Yeah.
Because when you start something new, you're not passionate about it. You're too encumbered by the struggles that are in front of you. Got it, the first loan that you ever did. I mean,
oh jeez.
you're running from an underwriter to a processor to the client, and it's just, and you're not passionate about mortgage when you're learning how to become a mortgage professional.
Right.
So something else made you passionate enough to work to create money or whatever it was to try to attain that why. So that's the first part, I would say, is just having a why. When I was riding motorcycles, let's go to that, I just wanted to hear the crowd. That was my why. I wanted the little kid to just be totally in awe. And so I wasn't doing the most technical trick, because a lot of the stunts that you do can be very technical. So if somebody takes their right hand, which is a front brake control, and puts it over here and starts operating their clutch, you're not going to be impressed, because you don't really notice that small movement, especially if there's somebody in the stands and you're down on a raceway.
Right.
So throwing the kickstand down, or that's why a burnout gets people so excited.
Right.
There's no technical skill really once you can figure out how to put the gas and the brake down at the same time.
So it looks cool.
But yeah, your why is to get the crowd or get that person impressed.
Right.
And then from there, that's when you get passionate about what you're doing, because you become better at it. And then that's why you started, okay, I'm going to take my throttle hand and control my clutch with it. Just like, why would you do that? Because you want to be better at what you're doing.
Right.
So I don't know if that entirely answers it, but that's sort of how I start to process it. started to become really good at analyzing and planning, and then all of a sudden everything changes. So it's
Right.
constantly evolving to become something more. When I bought my first rental property, it was like, I just want to own a property and say I'm a real estate investor,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Now it's to the point where I can't even allocate, like, bookkeep for them. So, you know, we have to bring in somebody that can do that for us so that we can keep growing, and then the seasons change.
Right.
Your why changes. So
Your passion ballooned a little bit. So at first it was like, okay, cool, I'm super excited, I'm a real estate investor, right? But then as you get a little bit, almost, I don't want to say it in a negative way, but numb to that, because the more properties you get, the easier it becomes, and you realize, oh, you know, I can do this and I can grow this. But then once you reach a certain point, you go, wow, I can make this, I can turn that passion of, oh, I'm a small real estate investor, now to, I actually have the ability to move the needle on the quality of life in a single neighborhood by some of the things that I'm doing.
exactly.
So that's, I think, amazing too,
And the individuals. I remember renting from like the big corporate, and I
Yeah.
always felt nickel and dime. And like I was just this profit center for them. And so now we'll have a couple that's getting together, and you know, then they move on and get married, and we feel, hey, we contributed to that.
Right.
Or there's a gentleman who's starting his own little small business, and from time to time he has a hard month. But we work something out, and not to his detriment. So those are different things, like I would say, is your why. At first, yeah, it was just I wanted to be owning a piece of real estate.
Sure.
I didn't live in.
Yeah.
Then yes, it evolves into little things that have, I hope, a big impact.
Wow, that's cool, guys. Y'all, I hope you're learning something, because I definitely am. I know Ryan is too.
Absolutely.
You can get a lot of wisdom out of this guy over here.
As he laughs, he's like,
No.
it's all, no, it's good. I love, like, again, going deeper and just talking about some of these things, and it warms my heart to know that you found joy in buying real estate, since I'm in the industry, obviously.
Exactly.
But it's the number one thing that people are investing in, and I think now you're experiencing, once that you've taken the risk and you've got in, you've realized, okay, the risk was worth it, and now I'm starting to see, you know, all these positive outcomes coming out of it, and ways that you probably didn't see at the beginning.
Right.
As far as like, oh, I'm gonna own this piece of real estate, but now you're talking about, yeah, it's just fun to be a part of someone else's life and to help them get from point A to point B, or to be a part of that. I think it's pretty cool too, just to.
When people are interested again, and they ask questions, and then, hey, I'm right here. I'm not probably going to reach out to just anybody and say, hey, are you interested in doing this? But if somebody says, I'm interested in it, you get those motivated people.
Right.
Whatever stage of life they're in, they call, hey, can you help me out? And that's, by all means, absolutely. It's funny because we're all afraid sometimes to ask for that help.
Yeah.
And I would love it. You learn more from helping others than you do even doing it on your own sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And there was a little nugget there. I don't know, you might have missed that, but I think that to lean into people being afraid, or the fear of starting, or things like that, I think you find once you put yourself out there a little bit, or at least for me, I've known in my life, you know, get out of that comfort zone like you're talking about earlier. Change is the only constant. So when you seek out help or mentorship, it tends to really open itself up, which I think is a very interesting dynamic in how the universe kind of works and puts people into your life and opens doors and things like that. Because once you finally make that decision and say, hey, I'm going to do this, I don't know how, but I'm going to go out and try to figure it out. Once you've done that, the universe gets out of your way, and it kind of allows you to try to uncover this thing, whatever it is, you know, passion, whatever. So
I'll plug that. I'll elaborate on it and break it down. Picked up my daughter from school yesterday, and I'm like, I'm hungry. She's like, I'm hungry too, Dad. I said, where do you want to go to eat? She said, I don't care, I'm just hungry. I said, I kind of want that chicken. I'm trying to be really healthy. But I had a taste of Raising Cane's, and she's like, fine, I'll
Oh,
eat
place is
chicken.
amazing.
Well, she
Yeah.
doesn't really like it for some reason.
Oh,
I
no.
can't figure it out. She'll eat that bread all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
No coleslaw, extra bread.
That's right. Or extra sauce.
Yeah.
Either way. Yeah.
but it hit me. I was like, I don't really want to drive all the way down there.
Mhm.
I was thinking of what was on the way. I said, "Do you want Panda Express?" And she lit up. She's like, "Dad, I said to myself in my room this week I was gonna eat at Panda Express."
What?
And so I said, "That's how it works, honey. Like you just have to know in your heart what you want."
Right.
And we're breaking it down, so pretty simplistic with
Right,
Panda
yeah.
Express, but
Mhm.
just know what you want, repeat it, say it,
Mhm.
visualize it, and again, you read all the books, The Secret, watch the movies, they're gonna say the same thing. It's not groundbreaking,
It's a
but
common theme.
it's just not. We can't say it enough, and I guess we just need to make sure that if you want a new house, call the agent, ask
Yeah.
them, start the process.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Mhm.
You want your credit to be. I don't want to apply for a loan because I know my credit's bad. Call the loan officer that knows
Right.
and ask
Get
them.
guidance.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because getting that help, knowing what you want, visualizing and knowing you deserve it, people are there to get you there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah.
Well, dude, I think you might have one more question.
I
here.
do. This one we're gonna go a little bit deep on, but for my final question, what I really want to know is, as you look forward into kind of your community of Omaha, and you think about the impact that you want to make on people here that you connect with, maybe, or just the foothold that you want to make in your community. What's that legacy that you want to leave behind, to where others are going to look back and just know that you cemented yourself within that, whatever that goal is?
Wow, thought you had the question. So it's deep and things change, I'm sure, but one motivator, and I guess it's not in a morbid way, but yes, you get older and you start thinking about things like, I keep telling myself I want to pack my funeral, right? I want people there in celebration. We had to go to a funeral for a family member who lived, Jamie's great grandma, my kid's great great grandma, and it was like 1916 to 2019,
Wow.
right? That's
Wow.
a long time.
Yeah.
And it was just a celebration, and I want people to achieve their goals, leave them better than I found them, whether that has to do with the people, the real estate, the community, and it takes time, it takes a lot of hard work, but I think I'm willing to do whatever that hard work is, and grind, and however many coffees I have to buy and sit down with the right people and collaborate and bring it together in community. Stop with the high technology stuff.
Right.
High technology is great. High touch is even better. So.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Yeah, there's a value that goes into technology, but I think it's important for people to realize that ultimately the value is in each other, right? Thanks so much for sharing, man. We
Absolutely.
really appreciate you coming on,
Thanks for having me on.
telling your story.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You guys got to get connected with him. This man, I'm telling you what, he knows his stuff. And he's definitely looking for new connections too. He said he'll buy you coffee if you missed that part.
Good catch.
I like
I
that.
forget there's people watching this.
So Brad, give us a plug here. We're gonna plug you for a little bit. How can people connect with you? Where can they find you? Do you have social media platforms so they can connect with?
I'll have all that social media. I'm sure we can put the links and
Yeah,
all that
absolutely.
on there. LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm working on it. Instagram. Don't get down those traps though. Pick up the phone, make the phone call. If it's more than 2 lines, start dialing the numbers. And websites and all that. We'll make sure. Maybe put the phone number on there.
Okay.
All right.
And no, these guys here are doing amazing things to build that high touch. So please give them a call. Ryan Potter, Levi Walker, they are just genuine individuals who are sharing knowledge and speaking from the heart and being passionate about what they do.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah.
you guys.
Happy Friday, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Look for the comments down below to be able to connect with Brad, and then let us know, of course, if you have any questions for us. We're happy to help.
See you later.